Broncos camp continues on. We're going to talk more about that. We'll hear from Jerry Jeudy. We'll hear from Sean Payton about what they had to say yesterday. As camp continues, the Broncos are now a week away from their first preseason football game. And, I'm glad that Jeudy is stepping up. I'm glad that Jeudy is addressing it's not an elephant in the room, but I think he knows as well as everybody else. This is a big-time season for him, man, in more ways than one. He had a pretty good year last year, almost 1,000 yards receiving. His touchdown total was better than at any point in his career. And so he's primed, I think, under Sean Payton to make that next step, to be a guy that, okay, look, I'm going to be worthy of a new contract. I'm going to be worthy of an opportunity to be a highly paid receiver. But the fact of the matter is, boys, he's got to go do it now. And he's got to do it not only for himself, but more importantly for Broncos fans. He's got to do it for this football team because with the injury factor to Patrick, now with KJ Hamler gone, essentially, don't know if he'll ever be back. This is a huge, huge responsibility.
I feel like Jerry's an easy guy to focus on the negatives on, though. When I think there's a lot of positives to this upcoming season for him. I mean, let's talk about who his offensive coordinators have been while he's been in Denver. Scheme wasn't doing him any favors. And sure, there was plenty of talent in that wide receiver room. A lot of it gets injured. Right, so maybe not as much talent on the field as there is in that wide receiver room. But I think he really has an opportunity here to benefit from playing in a scheme where the play calling is going to match players' strengths and hopefully scheme people open. And even in these other schemes that it's questionable if they were even NFL caliber, especially last year, he still showed that he has the talent. He has the ability to step up and be that guy. Now, do we see it consistently enough? No. Do you see some of the things that you want to see from a guy that you pay a lot of money to? If you're going to give him another contract, he would be one of those guys. No, like you want to see a little toughness, a little grit, a little attitude, a little Jamal Murray. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to necessarily be gritty or grindy, but he's got to have a little bit more of an edge to him. And I think he can do it in the offense.
I certainly hope so. I mean, he's maturing as a guy, Raj. He's becoming, just a more mature human being, which I think reflects in his game, right? And that's all you can ask for. But he's got to perform like a number one pick. He's got to perform like a first rounder that he is, and we know he's got the ability. Now, it's Sean Payton's charge to get the most out of Russ, sure, but get the most out of everybody.
I think he's going to get the most out of his wide receivers, the most out of his running backs, and Javonte Williams, who wants to play 7 days from now, and we will talk about that at one point today. He will get the most out of Sutton and Jeudy in particular. While Rob said, yes, the main issue with Jerry Jeudy is consistency and being able to simply catch a football, right? He runs amazing routes. He's quick. He's got that career long of 92 yards. He can do all of the things. He just needs to be sure-handed and consistent at that right now. It all comes back to Russ. It all comes back to the timing of the quarterback right now. I don't care what Jerry Jeudy does. If Wilson doesn't find a way to run this offense with the tempo it needs to be run and get the ball out on time, Jeudy has shown that he's not a guy that even if Russ gives him time to get open, right? He flushes out of the pocket and we wait for that Percy Harvin throw, right? Jeudy hasn't shown to be the guy who can react on a dime and get into open space yet. We've seen plays that have broken down, and we've seen film where Jeudy just will finish the route and not find a way to go back against coverage when Wilson or any other quarterback goes off script.
But like Rob said, I think there are mitigating factors for that. And I think that when you look at what's going to transpire, and again, we won't even get a look at what they sort of want to run until next Friday against the Cardinals. But I think of all the guys, Rob, that you were alluding to, this is the guy now with his offense that's going to allow you the best opportunity to become the guy that they hoped you would be. And to dovetail on that, football is upon us. I mean, we had a game last night. You guys watch any of the Hall of Fame game?
I put a little bread on it.
Did you? You're kidding.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I did.
Shut up.
The whole thing. Stayed through the
the
high
whole
school,
game.
college stadium, lights going out and everything.
See, I don't know what it's like for you guys, but for me, football, once the first game is played in football, now we're in football.
Oh, I love it.
Now we're in football, right? Like the game was played last night, now we're in football. Like when baseball opens up, whenever they play, hey, so-and-so is going to play so-and-so in South Korea to open up the season. Now, the season ain't open yet until my team has the first pitch, whenever they are. When the Rocks have their first pitch at home or on the road, whatever.
But even then, like, first of all, when the first game's normally away, because they like to do that home opener on Friday, even then I don't feel like it starts. I don't feel like it starts until basketball and hockey are over.
You guys know the Rockies are not opening, but they're playing in Mexico City at the end of April next year?
Yeah.
I didn't see
They're
that.
playing
yeah.
a 2-game series at the end of April.
That's kind of cool. Mexico's big on baseball
told you
anyway.
that?
So
Them in Houston.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
They might
God.
get walloped in Mexico.
Yeah, they're
for-
gonna lose.
Houston's probably going to win the World Series again this year, so watch
How
out.
awesome would it be to be a starting pitcher on your off day when the team goes to Mexico?
Oh, jeez.
I mean, yeah.
Cerveza City.
That's
here we
what
go.
everybody's hoping for as soon as the A's move to Vegas, though, too, right? I mean, you want to be one of the two starters that's not going in
Yeah,
that 3
pretty-
You want to
pretty
pitch
much.
on getaway day?
Right, yeah.
No, we need you to throw. We need you to throw on the side today. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it.
But every other sport when they open up, and that includes hockey to me too. Like, teams can play up. So and so's playing so and so. 3 days before the Avs play. Season's not open yet. As far as I'm concerned, it's football time. Yeah, as soon as that first college football game takes place on the 26th, Martin, who is it? Ball State and Kent or something like that. I'm like,
get
hey,
some action?
college football is wide open for business, baby. That's what it feels like. So we'll talk more about that as we go on today. And the Broncos are getting closer to their game. And I'm big baby that way. I was like, okay, I can't wait till camp starts. Please, camp start. Then I'm like, can we just get to the friggin' first preseason game? Then I'm happy again. Then that wears off pretty quick. And I'm like, God, September 9th can't get here fast enough.
Well, it's like an oasis in the desert is where we are right now. You get to see football that with like uniforms that you recognize and that kind of matters for the first time. But then in like a week, we'll have the first Broncos preseason game, and then it'll be like, oh my God, can the regular season get here?
Well, so last night, the Hall of Fame game. You watched the whole thing. You put Brett on it. You're as bad as Springer.
Listen, no.
I mean, yes, you are.
I
You
don't-
are degenerate.
No, I don't bet numbers like Springer does.
Ah.
Man,
$5 bucks.
Over under on DeMarcus Ware's national anthem.
which,
2.5
by the
minutes?
way, I mean, first of all, props to him for getting up there to do it. But I don't know. I mean, how do you guys feel about it? I would not. It wasn't the best.
Would you
it
hire
wasn't the worst.
Would you be over at Empower and say, and now former Broncos star defensive end DeMarcus Ware to present the national anthem? I mean,
Listen.
would you hire him?
Objectively,
He's better than me.
it was a bad anthem.
Thank you.
Subjectively, when
Sure.
we figured out that it was because he sang the anthem every single game with Demaryius Thomas,
Right.
then it got a lot better.
Right.
But if I'm just taking him on straight pipes,
Yeah.
Not
It's-
great.
It was a little lacking. Let's put it that way.
Cold blooded, man.
Twilight's last gleaming,
too slow, DeMarcus.
whose broad stripes
Especially when you don't have the voice for it.
It's good enough.
It's a little
It's good enough. I've heard worse.
that high school kid in the play who's like second lead in the play and he's got to sing a little bit of his solo and he ain't like he's better than you, but you're like, yeah, it's a high school kid. That's kind of what it felt like to me. But coming out of that game, so the Jets score what? 16 points last night. I get up this morning at 5 o'clock, and I want to address this today. And I look at the trending on Twitter or X. What do we call this thing now?
I just still
I can't call it
It's
X.
Twitter for
can't-
now.
you
You'll,
can't call
you'll
it X.
eventually call it X.
No,
It's
you
Twitter
won't.
for now.
I,
You'll
when I
eventually call
look,
it
I
X.
look for a blue button,
Yeah, it's still
and it's a
Twitter.
friggin' black button with an X on it. I can't find it.
Do you call it Pepsi Center or Ball Arena?
Ballerina now.
You'll
I'm-
eventually call it X.
Yeah, but we don't hate Ball Corporation. We hate that he changed it to X, don't we? It's stupid.
There's no way you're not going to call them retweets.
Yeah, right.
That's correct.
Three
Exactly.
X's.
That's correct.
Reposts.
Yeah, whatever. That's what they've changed now too. They've called it repost now. That's a whole new thing.
Get the hell out of here!
But I wake up this morning and guess who's trending? Nathaniel Hackett,
I know why.
because they scored 16 points last night.
That's all we got last year.
But I know, but I'm thinking to myself, okay. People, they either love to pile on. There's two things here. They just love to be smartasses, which I think is probably the vast majority of people. Or they simply don't understand football, and they don't understand preseason football. I mean, who played for the Jets in the second half last night?
Chris Strevler, my guy. Yeah, you're right. You've got a great point.
Who else played for the Jets last night besides Chris Streveler, who was 0 for 2? I didn't see his end. He threw a pick late. I mean, who's at the end of the game? Who else played for the Jets in the second half? Is there any dude who played for the Jets in the second half that will even be on the football team in 3 weeks, a month?
Are you trying to go to bat for Nathaniel Hackett right now?
Well, hold on a second.
What are you trying to do?
Sounds like.
Listen.
It just made him a little sick too.
If we get to week 5 and here come the Jets into town and they're averaging 16 points a game with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback,
They might.
for a full. If they do, what do you want?
I'm not going to put a bet on it.
That's what
I
you
mean,
want.
he would need incredible odds to bet
What
that
do
they
you- what do
average
you want?
exactly
Well,
16 points a game.
Raj, I can't
I
really.
want 4-1 odds right now.
I can't really tell
That's
from
it. I give you 4-1.
I can't really tell from way over here because my hearing's a little bad in this right ear. But it sounds like you've got some sarcasm in your voice. That's what it sounded like when I was bringing up the 16 points a game in Hackett. It sounded like you were one of those guys who went, "Oh, I've got the perfect tweet for this, or the perfect X. The hell we call it."
Tweet. It's a tweet.
This sounds so
I'm
familiar.
not going to feel bad.
What is this, last November?
I'm not going to feel bad about piling on Nathaniel Hackett after the absolute
Dude, they stunk. I
dumpster
agree.
fire that he put Denver through
They
last
were a
year.
disaster. You're right about that. But to pile on in preseason, in the Hall of Fame game,
I'll do it.
when
Why?
nobody's playing, when nobody is going, the first half they had 17 points or 16 points in the first half. Then they had nothing. And I know it's a bunch of field goals. I dig all of that, but it's like, man, can we just calm down for a second? Once we get to the regular season, he starts being pedestrian with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback.
But
Come
even-
at me all day.
Even with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, it will take time to install a brand new offense with a brand new quarterback. Like it's if they average under 20 points when they come here to Denver, like that's not crazy.
Aaron Rodgers has never averaged under 20 points in his entire life as a human being.
But that's what I'm saying. They won't for the season.
Aaron Rodgers came out of the womb throwing 2 touches for 352 yards a game. I'm telling you right now, the doctor caught a football
What came out first?
when he's delivering.
What
dude.
came out first, him or the football?
The Jets are going to be
Football
the
came
Jets,
flying out, and then dude says, "What's up?"
gentlemen. The Jets are going to be just fine. They'll finish second in the AFC East this year. They'll make the playoffs. They've got a good enough roster. Their defense is great. They've got a good running game, and Aaron Rodgers will be a guy he's not going to score 16 points. I get it. It's a lot of tongue in cheek for me right now, but it's not enough for me to not make fun of Nathaniel Hackett in game number 1. There's nothing that you can say to me that won't make me want to pile on, my ex-girlfriend that broke my heart, right? She doesn't have to be at the Met Gala for me to make my final stand. I can see her out at a coffee shop with a guy who could be her husband or her cousin, and I could still make fun of her if I think the guy looks like a doofus. That's what the preseason.
Tell me
game
why
is.
that makes you feel good, though. I think that's the point.
Yeah,
Moj.
I think
why does
what
that
it
make
is,
you feel good?
It's more about you and your own psychology than it is about
Psychology. It's called Schadenfreude. That's exactly what it is. Happiness at other people's pain and displeasure.
And
Okay,
tell me
Vic.
why that gives you happiness.
All right, Vic, sounds good. Yeah, it sounds true.